Ouija knows all the answers. Weird and mysterious. Surpasses in its unique results, mind reading, clairvoyance and second sight. It furnishes never-failing amusement and recreation for the entire family. As unexplainable as Hindu magic, more intense and absorbingly interesting than a mystery story. Ouija gives you entertainment you have never experienced. It draws the two people using it into close companionship, and weaves about them a feeling of mysterious isolation. Unquestionably the most fascinating entertainment for modern people and modern life. With these words, William Fuld, businessman, designer, toy maker, with no branch factories or offices, invites you the American people, to enter the strange twilight world of Ouija, the wonderful talking board. No other single mass-produced item quite captures the imagination of the American public like the Ouija board. Is it just a toy as many claim, or is it a portal to the spirit realm, where one may find the answers to life's many mysteries? Does the Ouija sometimes take on a life of its own? Is it an implement of enlightenment, or a doorway to disaster? Questions like these continue to intrigue after 100 years, and are what makes the Ouija board extraordinary and truly magical. From 1890 to 1950, dozens of different manufacturers with names like Kennard, Fuld, Haskelite and Lee, cranked out their unique versions of the wonderful talking board. Some displayed fanciful images of pyramids, swamis, and strange mystical places. Others were more akin to Halloween with pictures of black cats, witches and devils. Some boards, cheaply made, were merely poor imitations of the more successful ones. Despite their popular appeal, most talking boards were used a couple of times, shelved, and eventually thrown away. This resulted in the tragic loss of a fascinating American art form. At the Museum of Talking Boards, we think that it's time we celebrated this forgotten art. So come along with us as we display the boards, give you a little history, and if we can't answer all of your questions, feel free to ask the Ouija. Welcome to our picture gallery, the heart and soul of the Museum of Talking Boards. You'll want to start with our thumbnail pages, where we have 96 talking boards and an assortment of planchettes in no apparent chronological order. There is a short description with each image to get you better acquainted. Some of these boards were on the market for a fairly long time, a decade or more in some instances. Others survived for a brief period, sometimes only a single production run. In any event, most have disappeared from the American scene except for the occasional flea market or on eBay where collectors buy and sell. Gallery, page 1. Ouija, by the Kennard Novelty Company. Design on wood, 1891. This is one of the Ouija boards that started it all from Kennard Novelty Company. It was assembled from 5 separate boards joined side by side, and braced by 2 vertical slats on the back. Stamped on the reverse side is the patent date, February 10, 1891. Ouija, by William Fuld, design on wood, 1902. William Fuld's first Ouija board was almost a carbon copy of the Kennard design. Fuld experimented with different types of plywood to make the board stronger and to resist warping. This one has a rich bird's eye maple veneer. Ouija, by William Fuld. Design on wood, 1917. This board is from William Fuld's North Central Avenue factory in Baltimore, Maryland. A large and a small version were available. Magic Marvel, by Lee Industries. Design on cardboard, 1940s. When you tired of consulting the spirits, you could flip the board over and use the master playboard on the back. Listed in large print are all the other fun things you can do. Chess, checkers, solitaire, letter writing, and of all things gin rummy. Raja, by Giftcraft. Design on paper hardboard, 1940s. Snake charmers, elephants. What more could you ask of a talking board? Giftcraft made several different talking boards. Mystic Tray, by Haskelite Manufacturing. Design on paperwood, 1940s. Serves spirits on this beautiful Haskelite tray. What would your guests think? In the lower left corner is the old hag from Walt Disney's Snow White. Now you know why they called Ouija's witch boards. Gift Trays She'll Treasure, from Life magazine, 1942. Question: from the year 1 until now. What shall I get her for Christmas? Answer: Hasco trays, of course. Slip a set of beautiful Hasco flying duck trays under the tree, and just watch her eyes sparkle when she unwraps them. Add to your gift list the new Hasco Mystic Tray, a combination tray and game that spells out answers to questions, exciting gaiety for guests, more thrilling than a fortune teller at your party, a gift every woman appreciates. And no matter who she is, there's a Hasco tray that will make her say, "Just what I wanted," and mean it. Small trays for canapes and cocktails, large trays for luncheons, buffets and bridge, tuck-away sandwich trays, and trays for breakfast to bed. Hasco. Trays make smart entertaining easy. Do away with table setting, maid service and plate and cup juggling. All Hasco trays come in gay Christmas wrappings. See them at department stores and gift shops now. Haskelite Manufacturing Corporation, Chicago, Illinois. Haskelite Manufacturing Corporation, 1917 to 1958, perfected a way to mold bonded plywood into virtually any shape using pressure, and H.L. Haskell's unique waterproof glue. Advertised in differing forms as Duramold, Plymetal, and Femaloid, this product was ideal for applications that required a strong yet lightweight construction material. It was widely used in boats, trains, airplane fuselages, and automobile door panels, just to name a few. During the Second World War, Haskelite helped the war effort by manufacturing materials for tanks and combat ships. Haskelite also produced a multitude of colorful serving trays with animal, bird, floral, and Disney cartoon themes. They were the brainchildren of Walter F. Gibeon, head of Haskelite's specialty division. "My first idea," said Mr. Gibeon, "was to take serving trays out of the luxury class, and to make a fine molded tray on a mass production basis that could be put within the easy reach of everybody's pocketbook." His second idea, when sales exceeded all expectations, was to shift into the game and toy market with his fortune-telling Mystic trays and Mystic boards. Over 4 million were sold in 1944 alone. With the success of the popular Hasco Mystic tray, first introduced in 1942, and the Mystic board series, 1944, Hasco became one of the most prolific manufacturers of talking boards in the world. These boards included the Mystic tray, Mystic board Egyptian, Hasco Mystic board with blue zodiac border, Hasco Mystic board with green zodiac border, and Hasco Mystic board with black zodiac border. There were large and small versions of each except the Mystic board Egyptian. Conveniently, the smaller boards came with smaller message indicators. All are still widely available today and can be found on eBay with a little patience. In 1941, the Federal Trade Commission brought charges against the company for failing to disclose that some of the products were actually covered with wood grain paper, and thus fell under the heading of simulated wood product, not real wood. This, we presume, is the reason for the label on all Hasco trays that reads, "Made of selected wood covered with fine lithographed paper." Hasco Mystic board, by Haskelite Manufacturing, design on paperwood, 1940s. This is a classic Haskelite talking board. Behind the letter design is a white image of the Sphinx with 3 pyramids. The zodiac surrounds the board in a special inlaid wood border. Mystic board, by Haskelite Manufacturing, design on paperwood, 1940s. This is easily one of the most beautiful talking boards ever made. Notice the lavish Egyptian scene right out of a Hollywood movie. A Mystic Prophet planchette completed the set. Hasco Mystic board, by Haskelite Manufacturing, design on wood, 1940s. If you couldn't afford the Egyptian Mystic board above, there was always this less expensive talking board from Haskelite. It came in several different sizes and color variations. Ouija, by William Fulk. Design on paper hardboard, 1940s. This Ouija design, first introduced in 1944 by William Fulk, was the standard for all Parker Brothers Ouija boards until 1999. The wood planchette was changed to plastic in 1946. Ouija, Deluxe Wooden Edition, by Parker Brothers, design on wood, 1967. Parker Brothers made 3 boards in the late 1960s. The standard edition was similar to the board sold up until 1999. A second larger edition allowed 2 people to operate the Ouija more comfortably. The third edition was this special deluxe wooden edition with its lovely golden finish. It came with a wood planchette. Wireless, Messenger, by the WMW Wheeler Company, design on paperwood, 1916. The instructions on the back of this board were printed in 7 different languages so you knew exactly how to use it no matter where you were. Parcel post direct to you, only $2. The WMW Wheeler Company also published books on psychic phenomena. Ouija, by J.M. Simmons, design on wood, 1920. What's this, a Nazi Ouija board? Things seem a bit confused with the Mogen David on one side and the swastika on the other. Prior to World War II, the swastika was a popular good luck symbol appearing on everything from postcards to lucky coins. There was no connection to the Third Reich whatsoever. Ouija, by J.M. Simmons, design on wood, 1939 to 1951. The lucky horseshoe replaced the swastika on this Simmons wartime Ouija for obvious reasons, just so there was no mistake. Printed on the back of the board in big letters was "Made in USA." 2 other boards were also available. One was a Ouija with a money bag, the other an Ask Me board. The Olympia ESP board, by the Olympia Specialty Company. Design on paper hardboard, 1966. Trouble contacting the unseen world? Play the special record that comes with this talking board, titled, appropriately enough, Music to Play ESP By. Oh, you need a record player that plays 45s? That won't be a problem, will it? Ouija Queen. By the American Novelty Company. Design on cardboard, 1940s. This was a pretty utilitarian design from American Novelty Company. Au revoir. How many ways can you say goodbye? Be sure to visit our American Novelty Company page for more information. Rest your fingers lightly but firmly on the super table, allowing it freely to move over the board in all directions. The two people should maintain a continuous contact with the super table, and the super table should be in constant touch with the Ouija Queen. If you fail to get results in playing the board, it is at no time the fault of the board. It is merely that the so-called psychic force is undeveloped in the operators. We make no claims of scientific or supernatural qualities. The early 1940s brought a remarkable proliferation of talking boards as manufacturers flooded the market with colorful and unique designs. We can't say why this happened with any certainty. One thought is that Ouija boards sell better during times of war because people are looking for hope and answers. Desperation turns people towards religion and the supernatural and faith-based solutions. Another answer is that it may have been a wartime fad with the 40s generation discovering Ouija boards for the first time. Maybe it was a combination of both the war and the fad. Whatever the reasons, the companies are long gone, having only lasted for a few years, and there is no one left to ask. Occasionally, we get lucky. This is the story of the American Novelty Company. We know little about James Acuff except for his vision. He created a new Ouija board, and he believed it was good enough to market nationally. There were already Ouija boards on the market, but there was always room for one more, particularly if the price was right. Acuff called his board the Ouija Queen, and the layout was much like any other Ouija board. There was the sun and the moon, the words, yes, and no, and au revoir, and a sprinkling of stars in the corners. Au revoir instead of goodbye might have been a nice touch, except that the J.M. Simmons Company had been using it on a Ouija board since 1918. And when it came to Ouija boards, leading manufacturer William Fuld absolutely dominated the American scene. James Acuff had a vision, but it wasn't very original, and it certainly wasn't timely considering the wartime shortage of wood. Acuff was also hugely underfunded. Had he consulted his Ouija Queen, the response might have been, "Conditions poor, try again later." Isidore Chapman of Omaha, Nebraska had a reputation for honesty, integrity, and fair business dealings. As a partner of Iowa Finance Company, it was his job to find ways to make money during the country's wartime crisis. He faced formidable obstacles, as did many business leaders of his era. His main workforce was at battle, leaving the company woefully understaffed. To add to his problems, one of his partners was in the service, and the other was recovering from an illness. Chapman wisely decided to expand the personal loan program to include businesses to help keep Iowa finance afloat. That was a lucky opportunity for James Acuff, who desperately needed a business loan for his Ouija Queen enterprise. This need brought the two men together, but Acuff was more the visionary than a business person. We don't know the exact amount, but we do know this. The loan money from Iowa Finance was gone within a year, and Acuff had nothing to show for it. The Ouija Queen had died, and that left Isidore Chapman responsible for her burial, or perhaps her resurrection. With little choice, Chapman elected to take over the rights and to go into the Ouija board business. Although there was no obligation, he promised to pay Acuff royalties if the Ouija Queen returned a profit and after the loan was satisfied. Chapman may have known little about Ouija boards, but he knew much about business. On August 24, 1943, he incorporated the American Novelty Company in the state of Nebraska, solely to represent the Ouija Queen. He chose a small South Omaha manufacturing plant, uninvolved in the war effort, to make his boards. Instead of wood, he picked a cheaper composition material. Before long, production was in full force. Chapman used wholesalers to nationally distribute his Ouija board, and landed large contracts with giant department store chains Montgomery Ward and Spiegel. His price to dealers was half of what William Fuld was charging. But all was not rosy. At first, Montgomery Ward wouldn't consider American Novelty, because it hadn't existed long enough to establish credit, and might not be able to sustain large orders. That it was Iowa Finance's sister company didn't matter. But Chapman worked this to his advantage. He offered an arrangement whereby he would ship cash on delivery to each of the Montgomery Ward stores. This was a direct benefit to the company in time and money, because the boards didn't have to go to Ward's central Chicago warehouse first for distribution to individual outlets. By so doing, Chapman could deliver his product earlier than promised and know by the individual orders exactly the consumer demand for the boards. Plus, payment through COD was much faster than payment through central headquarters. The retail price to a Montgomery Ward customer was 98 cents. Sales were very good. Although it was a great success, American Novelty ended production of the Ouija Queen after the war. The company continued until 1950 with various Halloween products, small stone figurines and statuettes, but none approached the success of the Ouija Queen. During production, there were two Ouija Queen models, a brown and yellow themed board, and a multicolored blue, yellow and red board. Many survive because of the large production runs, and can be found in antique stores, secondhand shops, and online on eBay. After the American Novelty Company, Isidore Chapman was able to devote his full time to the finance business, which he considered his real calling. Ouija Queen creator James Acuff received his promised royalties and produced a look-alike board called the Ouija Genii, with Boland Manufacturing Company of Winona, Minnesota. Iowa Finance Company became a subsidiary of AVCO Corporation in 1965. Many thanks to Lawrence Chapman, the son of Isidore Chapman, and Evelyn Bundy Hill of Iowa Finance Company and American Novelty Company, for a wonderful contribution to the Museum of Talking Boards. Ouija Queen, by the American Novelty Company, design on cardboard, 1940s. If the brown Ouija Queen was too plain for your tastes, there was always this colorful blue and yellow one. A variant of this board with white across the center was also available. The Mysterious Planchette, by the Planchette Company, design on hardboard, 1944. The poor sitter seems to be getting some very bad news from the Swami on this weird and unusual talking board. If the evil specter in the upper right-hand corner didn't keep you from using this board, nothing would. Yogi, by Lee Industries, design on cardboard, 1940s. It glows in the dark, turn out the lights, grab a partner, no candles required. They didn't come any more lurid than this. Absolutely guaranteed to bring two people closer together. Swami, by Giftcraft, design on paper hardboard, 1940s. This is one of Giftcraft's better efforts at capitalizing on the mystery and magic of the Far East. You may see an earlier version of this board from National Novelties. Mystic, by Barron, Rott and Samuels, design on paper hardboard, 1950s. It was advertised as the mystifying board that sees all, knows all, and tells all. What do you think it would tell you? Ouija, by William Fuld, design on wood, 1911. Early Fuld Ouijas lacked the face in the full moon, later to become a sun, in the upper left-hand corner of the board. The oversized planchette for this board had legs over 2 inches long. Ouija, by William Fuld, design on wood, 1920s. The copyright date 1919, and the Harford Street, Baltimore address on the back identify this as a 1920s board. Big red letters on the back advertise the name, William Fuld, Baltimore, Maryland. He didn't want there to be any mistake about who invented the Ouija. IDO Psycho Ideograph, by Theodore H. White, design on cardboard, 1919. Why stick to numbers and letters when you can add 60 other symbols as well? Maybe your Metamestic Indian Guide, CTP, upper left corner, can tell you. A picture is worth 1,000 words, isn't it? Oriole, by the Southern Toy Company, design on wood, 1905. This early Isaac Fuld board was identical to William Fuld's Ouija, except for the name Oriole and the Southern Toy Company sticker on the back. Mystifying Oracle, by William Fuld, design on wood, 1920s. What's in a name? Ask me again and I'll tell you the same. The Mystifying Oracle was a Ouija in every sense of the word, except for the name and the cheaper price. This is a beautiful honey blonde bird's eye maple board circa 1920. Mystifying Oracle, by William Fuld, design on paper hardboard, 1940s. Notice the evolution of the Ouija, Mystifying Oracle design in this interesting board from the 1940s. A beautiful maple version in a larger size was also available. Espirito, by the W.S. Reed Toy Company, design on wood, 1892. Following quickly on the success of the Ouija board, was this Espirito board from the W.S. Reed Toy Company. Unfortunately, the board only lasted a year. We could not compete with the widely known and wonderful Ouija, Reed said by way of explanation. Mystifying Oracle, by William Fuld, design on paper hardboard, 1940s. This is the last of the large and heavy hardboard Mystifying Oracles. It measured 15 by 22 inches, was 1/4 inch thick, and weighed nearly 2½ pounds. Wizard, by Fortune Industries, design on paper hardboard, 1940s. Fortune Industries had the same street address, 666 Lakeshore Drive, Chicago, Illinois, as Giftcraft, maker of the popular Swami and Raja talking boards. Wonder if that's how all those possession stories got started. Magi Board, by the Psychic Graph Company Inc. Design on cardboard, 1943. The planchette for the Magi board was a wooden cross that resembled a Christmas tree stand with a large bullet-shaped center pointer. Sitters had to balance this contraption on their fingertips and hope for the best. Although it sounds strange, it actually worked quite nicely. Guiding Starboard, by Palmer and Associates. Design on paper hardboard, date unknown. Talking board design often reflects trends in popular mysticism. The age of this guiding starboard is unknown. It could be from the 1940s to the 1960s. The instructions promise that the board would be under the influence of your own guiding star. Mystic Genie Board, by Zoller Enterprises Inc. Design on wood, 1965. The Mystic Genie board could probably be described as the better mousetrap of talking boards. Not only was it a conventional talking board, but the planchette could be converted by the simple attachment of a special ballpoint pen cartridge into a standalone message writer. Talking Board, by A Barrel of Fun. Design on hardboard, date unknown. Why worry about product liability? This manufacturer must have had a good reason for not printing any information on the packaging. They also made the Ouija Girl and Crystal Gazer. Ka-Bala, by the Transagram Company Inc. Design in plastic, 1967. Pax, Sax, Sarax, Hola, Noah, Nostra. What strange chant is that? Could this weird glow-in-the-dark contraption actually foretell the future? Find out the answers to these questions and more on our special Ka-Bala page. Ka-Bala, the mysterious game that foretells the future. If there was a contest for the weirdest talking board of all time, Ka-Bala, the mysterious game that foretells the future, would win unequivocally. From the eerie green glow-in-the-dark board, to the smashed dragon impaled by the Eye of Zohar, Ka-Bala gives new meaning to the word bizarre. You and a partner are instructed to start the game with the chant, Pax, Sax, Sarax, Hola, Noah, Nostra. From this point on, anything can happen as the two of you, with your hands on the solary projectors, roll a black marble around the channel that circles the board, and wait for it to come to rest at one of the many symbols. Depending on the astral plane chosen, the future is revealed by letters and numbers like a talking board, or by tarot cards placed in specially designed wells, or astrologically by the zodiac conveniently spelled out in bas-relief around the perimeter of the board. Care must be taken not to get too carried away as you play, since the black marble has a tendency to leave the channel and fly across the room like a bullet. Did I mention that the Eye of Zohar follows your every move? The instruction sheet that comes with Ka-Bala is especially helpful. All the rules are presented in great detail, along with the sage advice that the lights must be on in order to read the tarot cards. The cartoon below appeared in comic books.
You are under the spell of Ka-Bala. Ka-Bala, the mystic one, sees all, tells all the secrets of your future. You've turned out all the lights. In the dark of the room, an eerie green glow. It's Ka-Bala. The moment is tense, but undaunted, you place your hands on the mysterious board. A deep breath, and you're ready with your first question.
Will I ever pitch a winning game?
You watch the ever-searching Eye of Zohar. Round and round, the crystal marble goes. Where will it stop? Only Ka-Bala knows. Will it spell yes? Will it spell no? Anxiously, you wait as the future unfolds. See Ka-Bala cast its spell on TV. Minutes later, now it's your partner's turn.
The tarot card's for me. What will my future be?
Says she. Slowly, she reaches for a card, then swiftly turns it up.
See?
A happy marriage with children, material wealth. Learn the deep secrets of your future. Get Ka-Bala to tell you all. It's an exciting game for everyone. Comes complete with luminous board, the Eye of Zohar, and crystal marble, which spells out answers, plus 22 future-telling tarot cards and instructions. Transmogram, where the fun comes from.
Ziriya, by Ziriya Creative Arts Associates. Design on paper hardboard, 1972. At a loss for words? then this is the one for you. Few boards capture the imagination like the Ziriya message board. Maybe it's the design, the color scheme, or the claim printed right on the board that Ziriya will be what you want it to be. View a larger image, then judge for yourself. Ziriya Message Board, Adult Party Game, by Ziriya Creative Arts Associates, 1972 and 1975. Welcome to the Museum of Talking Boards Ziriya interactive page. Working the Ziriya board, like any talking board, is largely intuitive. Because you read words and not letters, sentences and ideas come so quickly that it can feel positively supernatural. Many experienced talking board users prefer the Ziriya for this very reason. Here are some tips to get you started. If there are others in the room, have them sit quietly so that you can avoid any distractions. Take a quiet moment and try to empty your mind of unnecessary thoughts. This is about revelation, not concentration. Ask the Ziriya, "What have you to tell me?" This is more important than it seems. You can't expect a response if you don't ask. As obvious as this is, you would be surprised at the number of people who sit and expect the message indicator to do all the work. Try to distance yourself from the movement on the board. Be a spectator as the planchette moves from word to word. This is a conscious-unconscious state that you are trying to achieve. If you've distanced yourself properly, after a while you're going to get the feeling that the planchette wants to stop at certain words. Observe them through the planchette center hole. String the words together to form sentences. At first they may not make much sense, but this will improve with practice. They may even startle you with their messages. Allow time for Ziriya to warm up. You must follow the instructions to receive meaningful messages. Be patient, think positively, concentrate on the question and answer. Do not interrupt a message. Avoid distractions and disturbances while operating. Ziriya will be what you want it to be. Universal, infinite, cosmic, eternal. Oracle, by William Fuld. Design on wood, 1915. Patented January 19, 1915, William Fuld's first oracle was a complete departure from his regular Ouija. Fuld designed and produced a number of oddball talking boards. Few survive today. Mystifying Oracle, by William Fuld. Design on wood, 1920. By 1920, the oracle became the Mystifying Oracle, as evidenced by the name change in the center black circle. Although the peculiar letter design was interesting, it was not to last. Michi Manitou, by the Wilder Manufacturing Company, design on wood, 1920s. This is obviously a Fuld clone, circa 1920, but at least it has an interesting and user-friendly letter and number design. As everyone knows, Michi Manitou is the Native American, Algonquin, spirit guide who will answer all your questions. What? You didn't know that? Michi Manitou, by the Wilder Manufacturing Company, design on wood, 1920s. The Michi Manitou came in a variety of styles and sizes. Here is a variation of the above board. Wilder also made a duplicate, Mystic Ouija board, which we think predates the Michi Manitou. Wilder may have made the name change with a little persuasion from William Fuld, but that is only a guess. Ouija, by Cop Clark Publishing, design on hardboard, 1950s. If you're going to copy a Ouija board, you might as well do it right and start with the original canard design. That is exactly what this Canadian manufacturer did after negotiations with the original patentee in 1891. Cop Clark made many Ouijas, some wood, some hardboard. All, except for the packaging and message indicators, are exactly alike. Ouija Girl, by A Barrel of Fun, design on hardboard, date unknown. This unknown manufacturer, marketing as A Barrel of Fun, made two versions of the Ouija Girl. The first version was this one. The second version had the title and girl in red and yellow, like the Crystal Gazer below. Crystal Gazer, by A Barrel of Fun. Design on hardboard, date unknown. The Crystal Gazer brings to fore the number of talking boards we have found so far by this unknown manufacturer. You might call this one the new and improved deluxe Ouija Girl. Magic Marvel, by Lee Industries, design on cardboard, 1940s. If you were bothered by the garish colors of the original yellow Magic Marvel and red glow in the dark Yogi, you could have the best of both designs in this toned down, but boring, light tan Magic Marvel Yogi combo. Ouija, by the Baltimore Talking Board Company, design on wood, 1920. Collectors call this the smiley face Ouija for obvious reasons, although you may need to look closely to find out why in this picture. There seems to be some debate among experts whether that's George Washington or the Sphinx in the lower right-hand corner of the board. Stargazer, by Alice Lee Manufacturing, design on paper, 1940s. This Stargazer mystical question board was designed as a talking board serving tray. Sandwiched between two pieces of glass is a double-sided sheet of paper, with the talking board on one side and the mysterious palm, a palmistry or zodiac fortune game on the other. Midas Board, by 718778 Ontario Limited. Design on cardboard, 1987. Actually, it's the Midas Golden Touch prophesying board, and if there ever was a game that could pick your winning lottery numbers, then this talking board from Canada would be the one to do it, according to the instructions anyway. It came complete with Midas prophecy cards and a plastic message indicator. Finger of Fate, by Colorforms. Design on paper plastic, 1971. About the size of a grapefruit, this forgotten little gem is housed in a clear plastic sphere and uses a magnetic finger pointer suspended from the roof of the ball as a message indicator. Ultra bizarre. Sitters place their fingertips on the rim of the sphere, and the pointer takes over, spelling out the messages from the spirits. Bold in concept, the actual contraption leaves a lot to be desired, because the finger pointer is so twitchy that it takes forever to spell out a word, much less a full sentence. It gets high marks for originality though. Oh, and it's very very cute, which is why you see it everywhere on the internet. You have us to thank for that. You are welcome. Gallery, page 2. Ouija Table, by the Metaphysical Research Group. Design on paper cardboard, 1960s. Covered in heavy plastic and secured in the corners with metal clasps, this talking board from Hastings, England is designed to stand up to the most rigorous punishment. It was popularized in the video by Stephen Patrick Morrissey. The small print under the words Ouija Table identifies it as a psychic investigator's research instrument. Mystic Medium, by the Medley Manufacturing Company. Design on hardboard, date unknown. Snake charmers never looked better than on this Mystic Medium board. On the reverse side is a checkerboard to use if the spirits aren't biting. Mystery Talking Board, by E.S. Lowe. Design on hardboard, 1940s. We love the design of this board from E.S. Lowe, with the hourglass, owl and moon, crystal gazers, and the hands reaching for the glowing planchette. Mystic Answer Board, by Remington Morse. Design on paper hardboard, 1944. The picture doesn't do this Mystic Answer Board justice with its beautiful red, beige and blue hues. Black Magic Talking Board, by Giftcraft. Design on paper hardboard, 1940s. This time it's jungle magic from Giftcraft, with a witch doctor and his weapons. We're afraid to guess what he may be cooking up in those kettles. Maybe he's a cannibal. Why else would those letters be in the shape of human bones? Mystic Quiz, by Shackman. Design on wood, date unknown. Yep, that's a witch with a broomstick on this classic Halloween talking board. Also notice the owl and the cat. All that's missing is the devil. Perhaps the mystic, upper left corner, qualifies. A black version of the Mystic Quiz was also available. This is one of the smallest talking boards, measuring only 7 by 12 inches. Psychic Sex Board, by American Publishing. Design on paper hardboard, 1979. Act out your fantasies with this shocking pink pre-AIDS era sex board. Be kinky, straight, or bring a friend, depending where the planchette points. If you are not up to it, never fear, you can land on Not Tonight Dear, I Have a Headache. Mystic Soothsayer, by W.M.F. Druckey and Sons. Design on hardboard, 1944. The instructions for this Midnight Mystic Soothsayer warn you not to confuse it by asking more than one question at a time. Good advice, it seems to us. For those of you who like to operate talking boards in a closet with a friend, this was a glow-in-the-dark board. Not sure what they used to make it glow. Just don't keep it next to your body for long periods. Mistola, by the Crestcraft Company. Design on hardboard, 1940s. Nothing risque about this pretty board designed for the romantic in everyone. The scribe and the harpist, upper corners, know our destiny. Love and marriage, lower corners, awaits. This is the board you want to take to your girlfriend's house. Mystifying Oracle, by William Fuld. Design on metal, 1930s. Could this be the holy grail of Ouija boards? If it isn't the rarest of all William Fuld boards, then it certainly is ahead of whatever is in second place. Read more about this odd metal Mystifying Oracle, with the weird battery-operated light-up planchette, on our Electric Mystifying Oracle page. The Electric Mystifying Oracle. Once in a while a company will take a detour from the usual business, and come up with something really creative and special. The Electric Mystifying Oracle from William Fuld is such an example. Possibly the rarest of the Fuld production talking boards, this Art Deco, Depression-era beauty from the 1930s is an absolute marvel to see. The board and planchette are completely made of sheet metal and finished in a faux mahogany. Both are king size. The board is a huge 18.5 by 25 inches. The planchette looks massive enough to iron a shirt with, and would be far too heavy to slide if it weren't for the ball bearings underneath. The most unusual part of this combination, other than the odd letterboard layout, is William Fould's innovative light-up planchette. Powered by a dry cell battery, an electric bulb illuminates letters through the viewing window when the electric switch, located on the underside of the planchette, strikes strategically placed bumps on the board. The effect is nothing short of wonderful, and must have made quite an impression on users of the day. If you have let the board image at the top of the page load completely, the planchette should be flashing now to give you a demonstration. It is unknown how many of these boards survived the Depression. We think not many. When we talk about the loss of an American art form, this is what we mean. If you would like to read more about this unusual talking board, we invite you to see the original patent on our patent page. Learn about the plurality of protuberances, and other weird things that went into the making of the electric Mystifying Oracle. Patent number 1,870,677, amusement device. William A. Fould, Baltimore, Maryland, filed June 6, 1930, serial number 459,571, 4 claims. Claims 273-161. An amusement device comprising, in combination, a board bearing characters inscribed thereon, a plurality of protuberances carried by said board interspersed among said characters, a plaque mounted on legs movable upon the board, a combined lamp socket, battery clip and switch carried by the lower surface of said plaque, said switch adapted to be closed by contact with any of said protuberances occurring as a result of movement of the plaque, to close a circuit from a battery in said clip through a lamp in said socket, to illuminate a character adjacent the contacting protuberance. Mystifying Oracle, by William Fould. Design on wood, 1940s. Depending on what you wanted to spend, you could have the paper-covered hardboard model, or the more expensive all-wood bird's-eye maple deluxe. Mystifying Oracle pictured here. Large and small versions were available in the paper versions. Cardinal Swami, by Cardinal Industries Inc., design on paper hardboard, 1940s. This Cardinal Industries Swami Sage of the Ages is a real standout, not only for the superb letter and number placement, but for the wonderfully detailed Victorian circus-style alphabet. Notice that this board is taller than it is wide, another rarity. Each Swami Sage of the Ages came with its own special Swami hand to make sure you were pointed in the right direction. Here it is below. Asterial Ouija board, by the Plywood Specialty Company. Design on wood, date unknown. Asterial means having to do with the stars. That must distinguish it from that other Ouija that it copies exactly, namely William Fould's. Throne board, by J. E. Garside. Design on paperwood, 1893. We call it the throne board for want of a better title. The throne faces a round table, King Arthur style. Letters, numbers, and word quick picks allow you to make those royal decisions. Patented by J. E. Garside on August 8, 1893. Telepa board, by Psychic Research Assen. Design on wood, date unknown. Looks like someone spilled alphabet soup right in the center of this board from Salem, Massachusetts. Instructions on the back claim that the telepa is a medium for the purpose of thought transference or materialization, and is believed to be one of the most successful and practical instruments for this purpose. Ouija, by Russell Rucker and Amp Company. Design on wood, date unknown. This is one of several boards we have seen besides the Simmons Ouija, to feature swastikas. Although there is no date, we are very sure that it is pre-1940s. Mystic Glow, manufacturer unknown. Design on paper hardboard, date unknown. We don't know quite what to make of this board with the creepy funhouse images. Contrast this cheap dime store board with the serious seance instrument in the frame below. It's all about intent, of course. The intention of making $1 versus the intent of contacting the spirits. Psyche, by the Psyche Publishing Company. Design on tin plastic, 1921. Let Psyche be your muse with this interesting board reminiscent of the earlier wireless. Messenger. Psyche Publishing produced much material for the devoted psychic researcher. This board was their #1 seller. Witchy board, by J.W. Stanley. Design on wood, 1920. One wonders if they didn't know how to spell witchy, or if they just didn't give a whit. Anyway, this is a wonderful example of a Halloween board. That's an owl sitting on the broomstick with the witch. All we need now is a fumpkin. Ouija, by the Model Pub and Specialty Company. Design on hardboard, date unknown. Here's a large version of Shackman's Mystic Quiz, renamed Ouija. Or is it the other way around? Interesting how two companies can market the same design with minor variations. We see this a lot in the talking board business. Father Time, by the Advance Games Company. Design on paper hardboard, 1945. Father Time tells all, presumably after looking into his huge crystal ball. The headphones floating in the crystal are labeled "Conditions Good" and "Conditions Bad," just to let you know Father Time's current temperament. The Father Time talking board was made in Canada and in the US. Swami, by Pyramid Power 5 Inc. Design on paper hardboard, 1977. It's the age of Aquarius again with this 70s Swami Tarot Ancient Oracle. Use it like a conventional talking board or flip it over and consult the tarot cards on the back. Great period design. Raja, by Clinton Art Products. Design on paper hardboard, 1944. If you get bored with your collection of plain wood talking boards, this gorgeous Raja Spirit talking board is sure to brighten your afternoon. This is one of the nicer ones. Pen G, by Corno Caris Limited. Design on paper cardboard, 1984. The folding pen G has to be one of the prettiest talking boards with its colorful design and delicate shading. Originally a pendulum board, it works much better with a planchette. The moon and the sun agree, or is that just our imagination? Ouija, by Morton E. Converse & Son. Design on wood, date unknown. First prize for the all-time best Ouija clone goes to this fooled facsimile on the left. Kind of makes you wonder what else Morton & Son copied, doesn't it? The message indicator is stamped with a bold, Converse mark of quality logo. Predicta, by the Pacific Game Company. Design on paper hardboard, 1968. The Predicta all-knowing Magi board came in the lap version, shown here, and the deluxe, tablet model with non-skid wooden feet for tabletop use. The planchette for this board had a grommet in the center for a pencil, in case you wanted to use it as an automatic writer when you were ready for more advanced communication. Veda, by the Wiz Novelty Company. Design on paper hardboard, 1940. According to the instructions, Veda is endowed with many centuries of wisdom and knowledge and will answer all your questions of the past, present and future. A companion, Veda the Magic Answer Man game was also available from Wiz Novelty Company. Ouija, by the Craftsman Sales Company. Design on cardboard, 1943. This is a Lee board sold by Craftsman Sales Company, COD to you for $1.80. That was in 1943. Wonder what it would go for on eBay these days. It came with the board, box, super table, assembly required, directions for the mysterious talking board, and your astrological forecast, a 30-page booklet. That's a pretty good deal for $1.80, don't you think? Kicha, by the Southern Toy Company. Design on wood, 1919. Did Isaac Fuld intentionally misspell Ouija with a Q, or is that just a ribbon flourish? This very rare board, unlike his Oriole, has more of a fortune-telling design with the playing card pips. The PPF in the logo stands for past, present, future, a common phrase found on other fortune-telling games of the era. See the original stencil for this board at williamfuld.com. Ouija board, manufacturer unknown. Design on paper hardboard, date unknown. This inexpensive import from Taiwan has the zodiac and a variety of other planetary symbols sprinkled about the board. Below the numbers are the days of the week. The circle in the lower right-hand corner reads, Planchette trademark Ouija board Pat Pen, whatever that means. Fickle Finger of Fate, by the Mego Corporation. Design on plastic, 1979. And now for something completely different. You fill the flat sphere with water and add a small floaty finger. A magic substance called slick silver takes over, and the floaty finger spells out your messages. We kid you not. It didn't work very well for us, but that's because, we presume, it's fickle. Tarot Wheel, by Tarot Productions. Design on paper hardboard, 1967. Pretty Age of Aquarius 60s symbolism board by tarot artist Frankie Albano. You can't see it because the picture is too small, but that's a hookah right next to the A on the board. Judging from the skyward glance of the hippie in the middle, we would venture to say he looks pretty stoned. He is also naked. A lion head hides his private parts. Don't try that at home, and don't ask us about the cherub holding the wheel, we haven't a clue. Universal Mind Contact, by Joseph R. Myers. Design on paper hardboard, 1968. Loaded with chalices, doves and crosses, this board was obviously designed by a member of the Catholic Church. Even the message indicator is in the shape of a cross. The directions state that the board is specifically designed to get you in contact with the saints and the angels. Prayers of supplication are included to ensure that you don't run afoul of the big guy. Angel Guidance Board, by J&J Inspirations. Design on paper hardboard, 1995. This is one of the prettier angel boards. 4 angels float around the earth in a very protective way. Should you be at a loss as to how to start your session, don't worry, an opening prayer is printed right on the board. Angels come with me abide, be now present at my side, grant me wisdom from above, bring me knowledge filled with love. Ouija, by Hasbro Canada Inc., design on paper hardboard, 1995. What did a Parker Brothers Ouija board look like Canadian style? It looked like this board on the left. Ouija l'Oracle Mystérieux was the jeu de message de William Fuld, get it? Well, au revoir then. Mystic Heart, by Relationship Enrichment Systems, design on paper cardboard, 1999. Only just recently extinct, this talking board was more for two people in the mood than those who wanted to conjure spirits. It had the Zodiac, Venus and David, plus a question wheel with a spinner in case you were too drunk to remember your question. The message indicator was, as you might expect, heart-shaped. Ouija, by the Kopp-Clark Company, design on wood, 1892. Elijah J. Bond assigned his Ouija board rights to Kennard Novelty Company for U.S. distribution, and to International Novelty Company for Canadian sales. On June 15, 1892, International Novelty signed a contract with Kopp-Clark Canada to make Ouija boards for a license fee of 25 cents each. It is unknown how long this agreement lasted. Kopp-Clark continued to make the boards for decades. Compare the Ouija logo on this board with the Kennard design at gallery page 1. Nirvana, by the Swastika Novelty Company, design on wood, 1907. Perhaps Bond figured that he had missed the boat by losing out so quickly. In any event, he produced the Nirvana from the Swastika Novelty Company in West Virginia for a short time. It is one of the rarest of all boards. Known as Bond's other Ouija board, collectors thought it to be extinct until recently. Ouija, by Lee Industries, design on cardboard, 1940s. This is Lee Industries' version of the Craftsman Sales Ouija, on gallery page 1. Lee made several of these boards under different names and companies. Apparently there was no conflict using William Fuld's Ouija trademark. Or if there was, the Fuld's legal representation was wanting. There were Ouijas everywhere during this time. Sphinx Oracle Board, by Cowan Products. Design on hardboard, date unknown. Sphinxes, pyramids and signs of the zodiac adorn this oddball squarish talking board from Cowan NY. The Sphinx shows up on eBay several times a year. How rare is that? Well, there aren't any in your town and maybe not in your state. Does that make it rare? Charmed Spirit Board, by Soda Toys. Design on cold cast resin, 2006. Dubbed the Charmed Cow Pie, by those frustrated with production delays, and by the look of the final product, the Charmed Spirit Board sold out almost immediately. This may have had more to do with worldwide distribution than with the fans of the TV show. Soda called the board an exact replica, which was not quite accurate. See for yourself at our Spirit Board page. Despite the problems, this was a fine acquisition for any collector, fan of Charmed, or not. Mystic Ouija Board, by the Wilder Manufacturing Company. Design on wood, 1920s. Is that the Michi Manitou with a different name? Why yes, I believe it is. We don't know which came first, the Michi Manitou or the Mystic Ouija Board. Some have suggested that the William Fuld Company may have intervened. That may very well have happened. We've heard that they were more litigious in the 1920s. Zodiac, by the Zodiac Manufacturing Company. Design on hardboard, 1940s. This Zodiac looks like the mysterious planchette on gallery page 1. They even have the same address, Wells Building, Chicago. Let's see, the Zodiac Manufacturing Company made the Zodiac and the Planchette Company made the mysterious planchette. I think I'm beginning to see how these things worked. How about you? The Sphinx Speaks, by Jerry Lowenthal and Company. Design on hardboard, date unknown. The Sphinx Speaks is an intense white on black Egyptian-themed talking board that looks much better full size. We looked for years, missed several on eBay, and then found one at a swap meet. Goes to show you, when the Sphinx speaks at the swap meet, or something like that. We're guessing that this is a 40s board. There was no date on the box. Mecha Answer Board, by Lee Industries. Design on paper cardboard, 1940s. As far as color intensity, this outshines the Hindu oracle below. In fact, it's a little hard to look at without causing eye strain. Maybe it works better with just one candle. The planchette resembles Aladdin's lamp, and the directions implore you to point the spout at the letters. That's good advice. Hindu Oracle, by Winston Sales. Design on paper hardboard, 1960s. Not satisfied to be simply a talking board, the Hindu Oracle came with an astrology book, the Gypsy Witch Fortune Teller, and 25 extra sensory perception cards. Now that's bargain for your buck. Complete instructions on the back of the box explained everything in detail so that you could decide if it was right for you. Yes, yes, by Cordis Incorporated. Design on paper cardboard, 1971. Goofy is the only word we have to describe this bright blue talking board. Will not tell fortunes, proclaims the box in case you might be misled. Actually, the box is more interesting than the board with its images of good and evil spirits, all from the 70s. The board has a sponge rubber backing so that it will stay firmly rooted to your lap. If the board falls to the floor, an evil spirit may get loose, don't you know? Point Pleasant. By 20th Century Fox Film Corporation. Design on paper cardboard, 2005. Fox pulled the TV soap drama Point Pleasant after only 3 months, and it's no wonder. The Devil's Daughter washes up on the shore of Point Pleasant, New Jersey, and causes havoc with the townsfolk. How real or entertaining is that? Not very, according to the low ratings. One good thing was this promo talking board. That's the Devil's Daughter staring skyward, if you were wondering. Planchettes Gallery. This is a particularly fine example of a pretty maple automatic writer circa 1875, by Selchow and Writer. The instructions state that Planchette, the mystic of mystics, is the scientific planchette from the original pattern, first made in 1860. Although the phantasms on the front of the box are obviously not of this world, there is no mention of spiritual communion of any kind. The mysterious planchette, labeled British manufacture and English import, did double duty as a writing planchette and as a message indicator for the imaginatively named physio-psychophone. In reality, the physio-psychophone was nothing more than a piece of wax paper with numbers, letters, and fortune cookie aphorisms like, "Try to improve the present, then the future will be brighter." Kirby and Company made this mahogany Kirby's planchette in the 1860s during the planchette craze of that era. The instructions are conveniently glued to the bottom of the board and state, "For some persons, planchette moves in a few moments, and for others from 10 to 15 minutes is needed to charge the board." Kirby's came in several different woods, rubber, and a glass model that made reading the message underneath easier. Kennard Novelty Company's first planchette was this paddle-shaped, four-legged monster. It measured nearly 8 inches in length, and had legs 2½ inches long. The directions on the bottom ask you to place the board upon the knees of 2 persons, lady and gentleman preferred, with the small table upon the board. Place the fingers lightly but firmly, without pressure, upon the table so as to allow it to move easily and freely. W.S. Reed's beautiful 1891 Espirito Revelator planchette may have been the very first heart-shaped message indicator to grace a factory talking board. We think this chiefly because similar era planchettes from Ouija Novelty Company's factories, with their distinctive rear center points, were nearly carbon copies of the Revelator. Ouija Novelty Company's dropping of the paddle and adoption of the heart seemed to coincide neatly with Reed's legally motivated decision to cease production of the Espirito. Smaller than the earlier models and heart-shaped like Ouija Novelty Company's, William Fould's planchette was still jumbo-sized. Gone is the rear point. Notice also the slight difference in the Ouija logo and the absence of the 2 arrowheads on either side of the Ouija name. Beginning around 1915, William Fould planchettes sported a fancy new circular window to improve the viewing of the letters. In the 1920s, patent dates signaled other design changes like the metal ring surrounding the viewing window. Many manufacturers of talking boards sold less expensive boards in addition to their premium models. William Fould was no exception. His Mystifying Oracle was a Ouija board in all respects, except for the name and the price. In other words, it was the same, only different. Haskelite's standard planchette was the mystic hand with its withered witch finger descending from the clouds. The Egyptian-themed mystic board fared better treatment with the stylishly decorated mystic prophet. The message indicator for the Raja Far East talking board from Giftcraft let you know exactly where to look to find your answers.